Are you ready to start?
Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
It's casual. Oh no, you didn't. Oh, I'm so envious.
Bang energy. You make it sexual.
I love bangs. I haven't had them in so long because they were starting to give me like heart murmurs, like irregular heartbeats.
Oh yeah, they're not good for you,
No.
but they're great tasting.
Oh.
Bang energy. This episode brought to you by
Bang energy.
Bang Energy.
Oh, if we could get a Bang sponsorship, that would be glorious.
Yes, there's a lot of sponsorships I'm rooting for. I think Bang is one of them. I'm into it.
Oh, I'd be super into it. I used to, I always like Hunter McIntyre called them Bang juices. Just be like, what's up with that Bang juice? I was like, I like that even better.
Excuse me. Sometimes this pony just gotta dance.
All right, emergency episode. We can call it that.
Yeah.
Little emergency episode.
We had to do it.
It's early in the morning. We're ill prepared. I got a terrible lighting set up because we just watched a movie. It's a new movie. It's on HBO now. Max. I keep saying HBO now.
Yeah, you're ruining our sponsorship
Okay, hang on.
opportunities.
Shut up.
Okay.
It's on HBO Max. It's called The Little Things. Clip.
It's the little things, Jimmy. It's the little things that rip you apart. It's the little things that get you caught.
It's a brand new movie. Just came out on Friday. Stars Denzel Washington, Rami Malek, and Jared Leto.
Leto or Leto? How do you pronounce it?
I've said Leto for most of my adult life. Said Leto as a young person. And then me and my wonderful girlfriend got an argument about it last night where she was saying it's Jared Leto. And I was like, shut up, you don't know anything. It's Jared Leto. And then she brought up this whole clip from Conan O'Brien's show where he comes out and he says it's Jared Leto.
Jared Leto?
So I guess it's officially Leto.
I apologize,
Yeah.
Jared. I apologize.
We looked it up on Google pronunciation and they said like
Jared Leto.
It was like completely different. It was like, okay, Google.
Easy, Google.
You're not even in the wheelhouse here. But yes, The Little Things. We watched it. We're going to talk about it.
So I feel like we should stick to our Born a Champion episode format because it's a new release. Born a Champion, click on this link to watch that great episode. But where I don't know where it is. Just put it here.
Putting a lot of pressure on yourself in the editing room.
Oh, you upload it. It's an upload thing, not an editing thing. Yeah, it's pressure on you. So click the link for that episode because it's fun. But we did at least several minutes of a non-spoiler so people can enjoy some of this episode if they still haven't seen it and would like to see it. Do you feel that that's a good format to continue?
Well, you've brought it up, so I guess so. I hate abiding by the rules.
Oh, you are such a rule breaker. If you don't want to do it, we could just go right to the end, because I do want to discuss it, because I think it's discuss worthy, but whatever you want to do,
No,
big
let's
guy.
try it. We'll try no spoilers again. We'll try it. You see what Keith does for you people?
Yeah, I care about you, unlike some other people.
Everyone dies. It's not true. It's fake. It's fake.
Yes.
All right, we'll try spoiler-free until one of us slips, and then we have to go back and
We go
edit it.
yeah.
Spoilers start now.
So I'm going to give you my hot take up front of just generally. I think this film is a poor man's Zodiac.
Okay.
That's my takeaway. It's a poor man's Zodiac. I respect Zodiac. Go check out our Zodiac episode somewhere.
Don't watch. Don't make me put that link in.
When I saw Zodiac, I'm not too immersed in the genre as you. I'm more of a comedy guy. If you've seen these episodes before, so
Go watch Dumb and Dumber.
After seeing this, it makes me realize how much better I think Zodiac is. So you're welcome.
Full circle, baby.
Yeah.
We did it.
That's what I was excited to tell you. This film made me appreciate Zodiac that much more, and David Fincher that much more. That film made it look very effortless and very easy, and it's not.
This film looks full of effort.
Yeah, it sure does. And that's a good way to put it. I do think this film looks full of effort.
I think that's that's dead on. That's how we felt too watching it. My girl and I just felt like everyone's trying really hard here.
Yes.
Like on screen and behind the camera. Everyone's trying really hard.
You believe in God, Joe? When I see a sunrise, a thunderstorm, or dew on the ground, yes, I think there's a God. When I see all this, I think he's long past giving a shit.
I haven't seen a movie like this in a long time where I felt like just huge shifts in my opinions of it as it went. For the first hour and some change, I really liked it. And I was excited where it was going, and I liked the setup. And then kind of in maybe the latter part of the second act or the early part of the third act, it just kind of started to get a little weird, and I didn't like it as much. And then the ending came, and I really liked it. And then the ending continued, and I didn't like it anymore. So it was like really weird to have all these switches.
I had similar feelings in the sense that this up and down, left and right sort of, it moved me throughout my opinion changed as I continued to watch. That I will agree with. I thought this movie could have been about 40 minutes. That was my overall, you could tell the same story in about 40 minutes and it'd be just as impactful, because the best part of the film is the end, in my opinion. Best part of the story. I shouldn't say the film. The best part of the story.
It's the most interesting part of the film by far.
And I thought that's, after the film was over, I mean, I don't want to get too much into spoilers, obviously, but after the film was over, I was like, oh, I wish the whole film explored what the dilemma of the last 15, 20 minutes.
Well, I think the film thinks it did.
Yeah, and I don't think it did.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. Well, because as we're just talking so vaguely right now, because we're trying not to get specific. So let's talk about the performances, which are sort of, like we said, the draw, and we could probably do that without getting too into spoilers. Then we'll transition and get into the specifics of the story.
Okay.
What did you think of the performances? Because I don't know. Like, Denzel is wonderful, and this is a great Denzel role, and he's able to do all of his Denzel things. And I like all of that very much. I mean, who doesn't? Denzel, I think, is almost become, I don't want to say underappreciated, because everyone knows he's great, but you almost take it for granted. It's just oh, Denzel's in it, he's going to be great.
Yes.
And he is. Love him. The other two guys, I thought were not bad at all. Like, talented actors both. But Jared Leto, his whole energy, I feel like in almost every role, he's just doing a lot. He's a tough egg to crack for me. But he was fine. And there were moments I thought he was really good, and they did a great job making him look weird. And Rami Malek, who I don't have a lot of familiarity with, I think is a really fascinating performer. I kind of think he was miscast here. It would be my takeaway.
He just has a quirk to him, it feels like, from an outsider perspective. So that's why you feel like he was miscast. I don't know if his quirkiness, for lack of a better way to describe it, is like a talent of his, or just how he is, and that's just what he is.
Yeah.
I don't know enough. I don't know enough if it's like, oh, I'm doing a subtle tick or a subtle thing to really make this character my own, kind of, or this is just how I act, and you deal with it.
Well, yeah, but I sort of think both of those, no matter which it is, whether it's just the way he is or it's something he's affecting, are not good choices for this role. So that's like, the point still stands.
What do you feel do you think the character should have been more suave and more cool and more of a Brad Pitt type detective to pigeonhole it a little bit?
Yeah, that's funny you say. That's what Monique said, was like, this needs to be like that young Brad Pitt in Seven, which this movie clearly has some energy of Seven in it.
What's in the box? Not till you give me What's in the fucking box?
I honestly think like a young Paul Walker type, like a pretty boy, hungry, like, you know, quarterback almost, where he's eager to please, eager to prove. He's an up-and-comer. He's a fast-rising star in the department. And like I was really intrigued by Rami Malek in the beginning. Like I felt like in the first part of the film where he was in, he really had this energy to him. He has like a really and I'm sure this is part of his appeal, is he has a really interesting like sexuality to his energy and to the way he moves. And there's almost this sort of like androgynous, it's not quite effeminate, but he's just got this really like this slick kind of sneaky sexual energy. And I could see why people are drawn to him, like I said, because like I want to see him in stuff. Like I'm like, this guy, I can't, like he's attractive in a very unusual way. There's just like all these things where like I'm drawn to him, but he started one way, which I was like, oh, this is an interesting take on this type of character. And then that kind of faded as the film went on. And then I was just kind of like, I don't know that this is the guy for this role. I don't know.
I don't disagree. I think you're on it. I think you're around it. I liked him the best when him and Denzel were at odds in the beginning of the film. Yeah. When there seemed to be more conflict there. He needs to be a character shrouded in mystery. I feel like that's his sweet spot. Like I don't know if he can play a hero in the traditional sense where you're like, this guy, I'm all in, he's awesome, I believe and trust in him 100%. And I feel like the film started out where you didn't know him, you think, you know, you're a little like, who is this guy? Denzel's clearly the protagonist of the story. I'm on his side unequivocally, and I love Denzel, and everyone does. So him being the sort of offshoot of that, and that conflict works really well. Then it tries to shift and make him the guy you feel for, and you feel like you understand, and you kind of go through his journey. And I think that's where you as the viewer get lost in his performance, because he works better as someone who's mysterious and quirky and different and maybe hiding something and you don't. Yeah,
because then it's like, because then you can be like, is his quirkiness because he's actually weird, like he's got a dark side?
Yes.
Or is his quirkiness, you know what I mean? Like you're drawn to that the whole time. Like maybe he's good, maybe he's bad.
Yes. And I think in the beginning of the film, that was more like it. That's how you were kind of introduced him. You're like, oh, I don't really know about this guy. And he did that really well. That balanced, he has some sweet and some sour.
I'm excited to watch more stuff with him.
Agreed. Because I don't think he's bad. I would never, I don't think he is bad. But I'm intrigued by him. I want to say one thing about Jared Leto. Letos. I enjoyed him the most. I don't want to say he did the best.
So did he.
So, and that's what I enjoyed about it. I think he was on the Pedro Pascal, to reference another Wonder Woman episode. Go check that out. To what you said about him, he's like, you like actors that clearly are having fun. I think there was a pro and a con.
In those type of movies.
But I'm borrowing your logic is my point.
Okay.
What made his character endearing to me in this movie is that he made me laugh a few times, and he seemed like he was having a good time with it.
You should see the look on your faces. Come on, it's hilarious.
The con, I want to say, and I feel like I can hold these two together, but maybe you can say I can't. One would discount the other. I don't enjoy villains, I'll use that term loosely in this sense, that seem like they're crazy for the sake of being crazy. Mm-hmm. That seems too easy of a performance. You don't know, is he a murderer? Is he not a murderer? The film tries to figure this out. Is he guilty of these heinous crimes? The film tries to explore who this person is. And without getting to know him more and know sort of what makes him tick, to have any understanding, even after the film's over, to like justify some of his actions. I still don't really know much about him, even after the film's over. So I feel like it's always easier to be crazy for the sake of being crazy in terms of a performance, because you can really do anything. You can really do anything, say anything, act any way without any sort of guiding principles for that character. There's no ethos to that character. So then it just becomes directionless, in my opinion.
My beef with that character is more about the character than it is his performance. I think I don't know. Jared Leto is, like I said, a very talented actor, but I can never separate Jared Leto from his characters as a general statement. So I just feel like I'm looking at Jared Leto in a prosthetic face having a really good time. And so that's hard. And then to your point, when that's combined with my perceptions of him are combined with kind of a really performative character that gets to do whatever he wants and have these little jokey moments, it just felt a little awkward to me as a whole.
Okay. Spoilers.
Why does it feel better now? I hope it's not because you're watching, but don't go anywhere.
All right.
Anyways, what the fuck was this movie? Am I right?
So now that we're in the spoiler zone, I liked the end. That's the most noteworthy part of the film, I think, is the end and the discussion around the end of the film. What do you think? Before I just ramble for 20 minutes that I cut down to 3.
I enjoyed, why I said I enjoyed the first part of the film more. I enjoyed the slow build. Like, I like a good slow burn. I feel like we're building for something interesting. There's more to be solved. But then it really turned and it stopped being about that anymore. It wasn't about the crimes per se, which is fine. Like, it's fine, subverting expectations and you're okay, the movie's about something else kind of now. But I just felt like as it went on and we approached that third act, all the characters stopped doing things that made sense. I thought from the moment Rami Malek gets in Jared Leto's car, you're like, what are you doing,
what the fuck are you
man?
doing?
And so I was willing to suspend my disbelief a little bit to be like, okay, I think what the film is trying to do is show that Rami Malek's character is so obsessed and he sees this as, this is his parallel to Denzel's character, that he's obsessed with this case. He's got to solve this case. He's willing to do anything, even though it's clearly a bad decision. This might be his only chance to bring this girl home or find closure or whatever. So he's going to do that. But so that I was trying to get past, even though I think it's pretty unrealistic. But from that moment on, it just really was kind of out of control. Yeah. And I would say the final theme of the movie is, I hate using this word, but is like problematic at best. The theme of the film is very tone deaf. Like, I don't know that this is a movie you make in 2021.
Well, so tell me what you think the theme is. I'm interested by that.
The general theme of, look, cops are humans too. Sometimes they're going to kill innocent people and cover it up and help each other out.
I don't think that's
the job's hard.
I don't think that's the theme of the film.
Oh, I think that's huge. Like, it's not the theme. Like, that wouldn't be what the filmmaker said. But that's the message that you're left with. Is this story is about two cops at different stages in their lives who both murdered innocent people and covered it up. And within the justice system, multiple people conspired to cover up police murders of innocent people. And at the end, you're supposed to kind of be like, yeah, it's all a gray area. But that's not a gray area. And it's certainly not a gray area right now. Like, how is this, like, maybe in 1975 you make this movie like, yeah, cops got a rough job, mistakes happen. But not right now. Like,
I think that's collateral damage. I think that's how people will interpret this film today. What I thought was interesting is after going into the film, I'm like, oh, this film is about trying to find this murderer, trying to solve a case, right? The film has nothing to do with the case. The film is actually about how police work or these cases consume the lives of these police officers to a point where they lose themselves, where they lose their true sense of self and who they are as people. They abandon everything they know of who they are, their friends, their family, their loved ones, whatever. And this lifestyle and this case specifically has consumed them and changed them forever. And like your interpretation of how that is shown is oh, well, they covered up some murders, but like it's not about.
That's not an interpretation. That's what happened. You know.
But your interpretation of the meaning of it.
It's not implied. That's what happened.
No, it's not implied, but that's what you're choosing to take away from. You're seeing it from the lens of like, oh, police officers can do whatever they want. And that's not the point.
So even if the main point of the film isn't police officers can do whatever they want, that's 1A. You know, I'm not saying that that's the message of the filmmaker.
Yes,
like
that
this is
not.
okay. I'm not saying he's condoning this, but I'm saying the story is making these two guys, or at least trying to, into very sympathetic characters that you can find some moral ambiguity in and be like,
Correct.
yeah, bad things happen. It's tough. Good people do bad things, but that's a tough point to make when you're especially going above and beyond to show that it's like systemic, that it's the coroner that's also in on it, that's his supervising officers that's also in on it. And then at the end to have him like hugging Rami Malek and helping him literally hide this body and conceal this crime and be like, that's my boy. Like, that is a really shitty thing right now. And always. Like, I mean, I shouldn't even say right now. Like, I'm not anti-cop, but I'm anti-cops murdering innocent people and us being like, yeah, this is the price of the job. It's like, no, go fuck yourself. You shot that girl in the chest. Like, you should feel shitty forever. That was horrible police work, by the way, too. Like, my God.
I understand your point. I don't take it as literal. As
it literally happens. I don't understand what you're saying. I'm sorry.
No, in terms of like how I should feel. Like I don't take it as. I think they're just using police. It's an easy way to get to a moral gray area. Not an easy way. This is the vehicle this film chose to present a gray area in life. That's. I don't take it as like.
Yeah, but that's the point. Is that it's an awkward vehicle to choose. Beyond all that, in order to really make that work, you have to make Denzel and Rami's characters super sympathetic and super relatable and likable. And I don't think they do that at all.
They don't.
Like,
not enough.
There's really not enough there that you'd be like, okay, like I'm willing to maybe not even quite overlook, but I'm willing to, okay, like these guys are good people. They really want to do right. The mistakes they made were terrible, but you could see how they were brought to that place. Again, he's supposed to be a super detective, but he pops some girl in the chest like the first second he sees her. Like, it's just, there's a lot of weirdness there. And they're not likable people. And they go out of their way to make Rami seem kind of sketchy for the first part anyways. So you're like trying not to make these people super likable. And then they do horrible things. And then they cover it up. And then you're supposed to just be like, yeah, crazy. Like that's weird.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I'll be honest with you, maybe I'm tone deaf as well. Like my brain did not go to, oh, police officers are corrupt. Like as a whole, and this is such a topical
that's
point.
That's white
to
privilege,
make.
Keith.
I guess so. To me, it didn't jump out. Like when you present it in such detail, then oh yeah, I totally see it, and I don't disagree with you. It's just not how the film hit me when I watched it. It's just I just thought it was a human struggle story about how things can consume you and ruin your life, and just ruin your life if you like allow it. If you allow these obsessions, your obsessions, to get too far. Like I just took it sort of at that general.
Well, see, that's what Zodiac's about. And I know you compared it favorably, but that to me is like Zodiac, whereas this is like trying to be like that, but I couldn't take anything else away. The end credits hit, and I was like, I literally like, ugh, like that. I told my girlfriend, I was like, that movie made some decisions there at the end, and I just felt kind of dirty. And I'm not like some super woke ass liberal.
That sounds like you
so
are.
I'm not like I'm all for like dark messages, you know, playing with that moral ambiguity. I talk about that all the time. Like the gray area is where I want to operate. That's where the most interesting stories are told.
Absolutely.
But that's a weird B or C theme to have in a film.
It's the little things, Jimmy. It's the little things that rip you apart. It's the little things that get you caught.
What I would have preferred to see, make Rami Malek's character so much more likable and so much more of a deer in a headlight situation, and make Denzel the bad guy. Like, I wouldn't make them both sympathetic. And like, where you're like, oh, I feel for both of them. Make Denzel accept his burden. It's like, I'm already fucked. I'm too far gone. My life is ruined. I don't have my wife. I don't have it. Like, this situation has ruined me. And the only good I can do is by me going deeper and letting him live his life. And they
I think that's what the movie thinks it did.
But it doesn't. It half-assed that thing. It half-assed that ending, in my opinion. And Rami Malek's character isn't good enough for me to, like, he's equally as shitty. Like, he's like, so if you make that more of a contrast, then I feel like the ending of the film works a little bit better.
Like that whole scene with the ditch digging and the Jared Leto getting taken out and all that. That was all really awkward and weird, and I thought it was kind of strangely directed. Like, I didn't have a great sense of like location and relativity to each other. Like, how close is Denzel to them? At one point it looked like he was really close, but then it looked like he was really far back. And then that whole scene between Rami Malek and Jared Leto was really awkward and I thought really unrealistic, where he's just turning his back to him and
super unrealistic. No cop would ever do anything.
Yeah, no, he's supposed to be a good cop. Like, and again, trying to accept that they're trying to show that he's lost his senses because he's just so obsessed. He knows this is stupid, but he's doing it anyway because it's his only chance. He's so desperate to find closure. I think that's the point. I don't think that was conveyed, but I think that was the point. So that whole scene is awkward. And then I get to the end with the beret. And when he finds the beret in the envelope, I was like, oh, good. And I literally said out loud, like, that's good. Like, at least Jared Leto was deserved. Like, you know, his death was deserved. That's good. But then I immediately thought, what if he bought a fake beret? And that was the next thought. And then it showed that, and I was like, oh, that's beautiful. Like, I thought for just a split second, I thought, this is beautiful because it's Denzel going out of his way to remove this young man's pain so he doesn't have to live with it like he does. That's a beautiful thing. But then that was immediately followed with the realization of like, oh, this is dirty and filthy and wrong. Like this is really uncomfortable in not like a good way. I like discomfort in a good way in a film, but this is like, it's almost removing the gray area to me. It's becoming just wrong because you know, the message, like I've said 10 times now, is you're just covering up these innocent murders.
From a story standpoint, when you talk about the beret, the beret? I keep saying beret. The beret.
Little French beret.
I would have almost liked ambiguity around whether it was real or fake. Because once he got that package, I knew exactly what it was. I was like, oh, that's the beret. I guarantee that's a red beret. And I was like, I guarantee that's fake because he's just doing that to save his... Yeah. And I would have liked to rather had that conversation with you. I was already thinking about it before they gave the reveal. I was like, oh, I can't wait to ask Everett what he thinks, if that was real or not.
That would be a lot better.
I thought that would be a lot better. Because then it might even help your point of like, I can feel like they did the right thing. Even though they went about, like, I can choose to be like, well, but by cementing it as we're just covering it up, I can see your anger with that because they're just dirty cops at that point.
I also, while we're just piling on here, just briefly, I'll say that I liked all of the setup because this is right in my wheelhouse, like I said. But the one thing I noticed throughout the film, and I hate to be insulting, but I noticed bad writing. I noticed like dialogue-wise, and I don't notice that very often. So apologies to Mr. I think John Lee Hancock is his name. I felt like there was several parts that sounded like a script, and I know that because they sound like something I would write. So I'm insulting myself too because I'm still trying to get better at writing much more realistic dialogue as opposed to writerly script dialogue, where you can hear the writer really liking this line in the delivery, and I'm like, that's not how someone would talk.
You got to solve my case to solve yours. Who am I to moan? But you piss on my leg and call it rain. What's Rue? It's
such a fine line. I probably wouldn't have mentioned it if you didn't, but it definitely stuck out to me. Something that kind of went through my mind. It did feel like these lines were written. It's such a fine line in terms of writing to my understanding, of you want to write the way that these characters would talk, not just generally people, because some people talk differently and some people are smarter and not as smart or whatever. So they have their own unique voice. You want to write as if these people would talk, but just a little bit better. Like, you want to be close enough, but clean it up, because you like, there needs to be some craft. That nuance, that detail is what makes a really good dialogue writer in film. And I feel like this person's probably a good writer because the way that they spoke was elegant and impressive, but probably teetered on too overly written in terms of natural sounding dialogue. So I agree with that.
Things probably changed a lot since you left.
Still got to catch him, right?
Yeah.
Not that much has changed then.
Sort of to that last point you made, it felt like a movie, and I was excited about that. It felt like a big movie. Like, this is the type of movie I would go see in the theater, and it's not a superhero movie. It's just like a big stars, looks like a film, feels like a film. And I was so excited by that, and I just felt like the directing, it was very competent and like solid. And maybe that's the strength, is sort of the director not inserting himself too much into, and I felt like some of the cinematography was really pretty and interesting. But then a lot of it just felt kind of like, basic is such a bad word now, but just kind of standard. Like, it's just like, okay, it's very safe. Not do anything too interesting.
Yeah, the direction didn't have too much direction.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Not in a bad way. It just didn't add a flavor to it. It didn't add a perspective unique to this story. It felt safe is probably a good way to describe it. It felt safe. Again, not in a bad way where it was poorly directed, but not in a great way where you're like, oh, I see where I'm being placed in a specific way that means something. It didn't feel purposeful in that way.
So yeah, I don't know. It's just
yeah.
Right.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah. It's just teetering underneath fine, maybe to fine.
Yeah, like it's a movie.
It is a movie. Great point. Great point.
I'm just bummed. I'm bummed because I really wanted to like it, and I feel like I don't like getting on here and talking new movies with you, especially new movies, because I feel like I'm always so critical primarily of more newer films, and that's not really how I am, I think, in general. Like, I've seen some new movies I really like, but I do think it's so holier than thou to be like, new films, they're all terrible. It's like this hipstery vibe of like, I don't feel that way, but I think a lot of these, I've been really disappointed by 4 or 5 bigger releases of the past several months.
But if you think about it in reality, you got to cut yourself a break. Like, I don't care. We get on this show and we talk about movies, and that's all it is. It's just 2 people talking about their opinions about movies. Everybody does it all the time. We just do it in front of a camera. It doesn't make us critics or like just be like, this is stupid and like we're just talking about it.
Smash that like button.
Yeah. we're just people discussing a film. Join the conversation. Like, everyone's going to talk about it. That should be fine. And then on top of it, when you think about it, all the movies that you like from the past, how many movies did you like from 2004 that came out in 2004? Like, what percentage? Like, we just forget about those other films because they don't stick. And in a couple of years from now, we'll never discuss this film again because it's probably not going to stick. But for the fact is, that's majority of films. We remember 15 movies, 10 movies, 5 movies from a given year. Like, you probably don't even remember the 10 Oscar movies from 3 years ago. And those were the best movies, like, it's just only so many films stand the test of time. Most of them are just kind of forgettable. And that's why there needs to be a place for good films. It's just good, and we move on. And we enjoyed them, and we move on for the next story. Like, it doesn't make us jerks for just talking about the shortcomings of certain films, in our opinion.
I feel like a jerk.